Hello, Joe Cury here, CEO and founder of the I Am Blessed AF clothing brand. And in this episode for the Business Growth Architect Show, I will share a little bit about my story and how I went from suicidal to being the most blessed person on earth. And if you want to figure the heck out on how to change your life through gratitude, through freaking like serving your leader and figuring out how to solve problems, listen to the podcast right now.
Welcome to the Business Growth Architect Show. I am Beate Gillette. I am the host. I want to welcome you to our globally top 10% ranked podcast, where you will hear from industry experts about the strategies that are working right now to unlock hidden opportunities in any market so that you can grow your authority and scale your impact. And now let's get started with the show. Hello and welcome back. This is your host, Beate Gillette, the Growth Architect. Today, we are going to go on a journey with Joe Cury from I Am Blessed AF. So heads up, this might be more explicit than what you usually hear on this show. Joe, welcome. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. And yes, definitely more explicit than usual.
You say it as you see it. That is for sure. So, Joe, for somebody who doesn't know who you are, give us a little bit of an idea of what do you do, who you are, where you are from.
I'm an artist, and I've been an artist since I was a kid. And yeah, I've been doing as an artist. An artist is somebody that understands details about a subject more than usual. Somebody that gets deeper into a detail. And yeah, I've been doing online marketing for the past 6 years. I've been doing a lot of influencer marketing. I come from Dominican Republic. I used to work with a lot of big people in the online marketing space, helping them get positioning, like getting a few 100,000 followers, getting media, and yeah, media placement is. And it has been a journey. It's fun.
You started out from a very dark place. And I want to be very careful around this conversation because a lot of people are triggered around some of the things that we talk about, depression, anxiety, and sometimes what happens as a result of it. But I wanted to have you on the show because I think it's also an important topic to talk about right now because there is a lot of discord in the world. A lot of people are feeling very lost. So take me back to a place when you had started this, just before you were starting this rocket-like takeoff that you had in the digital marketing space. Was there a moment where you hit a low point? What happened? And then what changed?
Many moments. I've been through a lot of coaching and stuff like that. And I've been going back and back and back when this started. And I figured it out. Since I was a kid, my life was really, really rough as a kid, and I saw it normal because I was a kid. But I was beat up as a kid like a couple of times, like two times a day, and for years and years and years. And then I lost track on when I was doing something right or not right. Like I was going to be beat up anyway, so I didn't know which one was right or which one was good. I left my house like at 13 when I came back, but I was reckless as a kid. And at 21, I set up a restaurant. It was going really well. And after I invested like a bunch of money, like I reinvested everything on the restaurant and then it caught fire and I lost it all again. That was the darkest point. Like I moved to Miami with my wife and then she left. And it was like in 45 days, I lost everything. I had like a king life with a driver and a freaking booming business, and then in 45 days I lost everything, boom, including wife and everything. And it was hard for me in the present moment. The reality that I was facing, it was too dark. So So I started like drinking a lot and to not be present, and like I started doing drugs. Yeah, it got to a point that I lost track. I didn't know what was the point, and I was asking God every day, like, why the heck you keep me here? And yeah, I did try to kill myself, and it was interesting. It was fucking the darkest moment. I don't know how to explain it. It's you just face all your fears, and I actually did try. So I did overdose on some substance. When I was leaving, like I started like begging God. I really got scared, and I asked for an opportunity, and I woke up 8 hours later, and I got the opportunity. So since then, like my life, I cannot say that it have been like a nice journey or whatever, but I lost most of my fears there. Like, what else is there? Like, and then I started like living life differently.
Ever since I met you, there is something about you where you are a little bit of a badass, and you definitely like pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
But you're very good at what you do. So you are at this crazy low point. You try to take your own life. You ask for a sign, you get your sign. How did you get yourself out of this unbelievably dark place in even recognizing the opportunity? Because I think that's a lot of times what people don't even see. They miss the opportunity because the opportunity generally does not show up in a Tiffany box with a bow on it.
Yeah.
So how did you know it was an opportunity?
It was like I was in a super low point. So I knew nobody here in Miami. I basically, I was sleeping on the streets because I was this guy that my pride was too much. So I was the guy that always was paying the bill for everybody. And now I'm in Miami, and I blew up maybe 70 grand when I came here in a couple months, like just partying and just not being present. And then I'm homeless, and that's when I decided to take my life. And for me, it was like super stupid. I found a job giving away flyers outside of a furniture store. And then the thing that helped me the most, well, I started like listening to books while I was giving away the flyers and trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to do. And outside of the furniture store, I started listening. I started like searching for how can I help my leader. He's hiring me for something. So he's hiring me to give away the flyers or to increase sales. I like to figure out how to solve my superior's problems. And I started figuring out, okay, they want sales. So, okay, let me start knocking on every window and tell them that we have a mattress sales today. And then making sure that people get into the store and pointing to the people and walking with them to the store. Then the owner saw that I was bringing people actually to the store, and he got me as a salesman in the store. I started shadowing the best salesman on the store, and I started like figuring out what they say or how to close or whatever. And yeah, I started just figuring out how to solve the next problem. And then I became the best salesman. Then I became the manager of the store. Then I was managing like 4 stores. Then I was managing the warehouse. And now that I'm managing all the stores, how we bring more people. So that was always the thing, like how we solve the next problem for my superior. And that actually got me out of every trouble. Like if you're working for somebody, and like usually people in the office, they know the problems. They know the freaking problems that everybody talks about the problem, but nobody do anything.
No solutions.
Exactly. So I was just solving that next problem, and like you as a manager or whatever, if you see that somebody's solving your problems, what's the natural thing that you will do? You'll like take on the problem. And I was always taking on problems that wasn't my problems. Instead of freaking being on social media or on my phone, I was just figuring out how to solve the next issue. And yeah, that's even how I started marketing. I started like figuring out, okay, and now I'm managing all of these stores. Now we close. Now we are good closers. How the heck are we going to bring more customers to all the stores? So, and this is something cool also that I discovered at that point. Like, maybe you cannot hire the best company, but maybe you can figure out in a different country who else is serving. For example, I started like figuring out, okay, obviously I cannot hire the company that do the marketing for Coca-Cola here in Miami, but maybe in Venezuela or Colombia, I could figure out what's the agency and pay for a consultation for that person and make it look big, like, oh, it's a huge company that's trying to hire this other Colombian agency or whatever. So I found out who was managing the marketing for Coca-Cola in Colombia, and basically I started asking a bunch of questions how to drive clients. So, and he gave me a really great idea. It was to do a huge promotion with influencers, and we started hiring the people that they are in the TV shows here in Telemundo, for example, the biggest national Latin chain or whatever. But the host of the show, they have 3 million followers from the same network. And instead of paying $200,000 to Telemundo for the campaign, you pay them 20,000, and you do this basically the same campaign, paying it straight to the host, and they doing the campaign on their social media. So I saw that as a huge opportunity, and I started like going super hard on influencer marketing. On the first campaign, like I risked it all with the owner of the company. Like, okay, let's do it, and we invested like 20,000, and we got back like 180,000 in sales. And it was like a test. So yeah, we started like going from there, and I started working with a bunch of influencers after that. And yeah, it was a rough journey. It took me 4 or 5 years.
And then at that point, you decided that you were going to go on your own, because then you had developed a formula, and then you set up your own agency, and that's when you and I met. Yeah, and you were working with. I mean, I looked at some of your clients. I mean, it's the who's who of internet marketing, digital marketing, and and people in all markets, in the Hispanic, in the Latin community, as well as in the internet marketing community. So now you've been doing this for a while, and then you've refocused. So tell me what happened, because the reason I'm so interested in your story is because number one, you're a very unusual person, and obviously the story is compelling, but there is something about you where you always are looking for the next thing. So now you have this thing figured out. You're like one of the top guys in influencer marketing, right? And now what happens that you figure out, I need to go look for the next thing?
Okay, I started working for a company, and they were paying me like 25 grand a month on doing some influencer marketing and stuff. And when I started working with them, they were doing about $12 million a year. And in 7 months, we developed like a growth strategy with influencers, and we got them to 40 something million. I've been in training, basically learning how to build companies for other people. Now it's time for me to build something for myself, and it's something that, and it's this brand. I'm Blessed as Fuck is a brand. I'm blessed and forgiven. It's a brand that it really connected with me a lot. Like when I was in my darkest point, I started like all of these books and all of these Tony Robbins seminars that I started going. All of them, they have like a practice, like a daily practice. Yeah, and gratitude is like they can put it in different names or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's gratitude. All the books is like basically like be grateful, and that's it. And I started like figuring out like gratitude is a super high vibrational emotion. Like you feel when you know how to feel grateful, and you know how to get into the feeling of being grateful. Because one thing is saying, hey, I'm grateful for my car, or for my kids. I started experiencing that, and my life completely changed. Like, I have never thought about again, like, on killing myself. I'm just usually grateful. I wake up every day and I push myself to be grateful. And then when I was like coming out of the dark moment, I started like figuring out how to remind myself more times during the day how to be grateful. So I started like writing it in my mirror. I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. And then I started like, I printed a shirt that it says I'm blessed. And then I printed a shirt that it said I'm blessed AF. And I started like wearing the shirts, not all the days, but mainly the days that I was feeling down. The days that was like hard. And yeah, every time that I went to the mirror, or every time that I was into an elevator, somebody would remind me, hey, I'm blessed too, or whatever. So it was like a trigger to myself to remind me, bro, like, you are fucking blessed. You are breathing. You are not in a dark place anymore. Like, you are not suicidal. Like, you are, whatever is happening today is nothing compared to your darkest moment. So step out and fucking do it. And yeah, that started triggering a lot of, positive energy around me all the time. And everybody was reminding me all the time. So, and I started like doing it for myself. A lot of people started asking me for shirts or hats or whatever. And I started like clubbing or partying or whatever. And I started like hanging out with a lot of DJs, so I started like giving away my clothing because they love it. The frequency of fear, when your brain is feeling fear, the frequency of your brain is around 100 hertz. Desire, the frequency is desire, and anger is 150, but gratitude is 540. So you are like totally different person. Like I felt like when I'm in gratitude mode, I'm 10 times me, literally 20 times me. Like from depression to freaking gratitude, it's a freaking skyrocket. But when I started seeing how my day was different when I was grateful, like I said, okay, let me figure out how to launch a big brand, and that's what we're doing now, clothing brand to teach people how to raise their vibration just by wearing something that triggers their subconscious mind to be present on how blessed we are. Even if you're fucking seeing this podcast, you're blessed. Like
you're blessed right now. That's it.
Exactly. Like you could be born in India or Africa or some freaking place that there is no freaking internet yet. Like or like there is people dying from hunger today. Like what the fuck? Like we're fucking blessed.
Yes.
We just forget about it. I like to say that that we get our cup of water. Everybody gets like a cup of water, and we get drowned in whatever cup of water. You could be the billionaire's son that he's like drowning in his own cup of water because daddy is not giving him attention or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you get the guy that is dying from hunger, or like even here in the United States, like Philadelphia and some areas, drugs. Like drugs is like fentanyl, whatever shit. Like people is in the street like zombies. It's crazy. And in LA also, like you are not there, you are here. So we are fucking blessed. We are extremely blessed. Like we just forget.
Well, Beata here with Joe, and Joe says it as it is, and we'll be right back after this quick message. Are you looking for the hidden opportunities for you in this market? Or are you simply wanting to figure out what is your unique differentiation factor that makes clients want to work with you and not your competitors? If this resonates, I want to invite you to go to uncoverysession.com and schedule your 15-minute complimentary uncovery session with one of our business growth advisors that will take you through what your number one business growth blocker is, what you can do to remove it, and what your very best next step should be. And now let's get back to the show. What sticks out about you is your ability to kind of monetize an idea, and then you relentlessly pursue that idea, or you have the idea first and then you pursue it and then you somehow end up monetizing it. I'm still not quite sure what the pattern of it is, right? So today, let's talk about the clothing company. there is a part about you talking about things, suicide, taking your own life, depression, anxiety, that people don't want to talk about, but you want to talk about it. Why is that?
It's not allowing the media talk about it. Like there were 14 million suicide attempts last year. 1 on every 4 Americans are taking mental health medication for some reason. People commit suicide, a lot of commit suicide. I think that every 40 seconds there is one suicide. And you don't see it. Like nobody's talking about it. I went like 3 months ago as a guest, not as a guest. I infiltrated in the system as I call, hey, I'm gonna kill myself.
Just to see what would happen.
Yeah, that shit is wrong. Like nobody give a single fuck. Like it's crazy how the system is so corrupt right now. Like nobody freaking cares. Nobody's talking about it. And yeah, if nobody's going to talk about it, like somebody have to do something. Like it's a pain. Like August 1st, this August 1st, 4 people that I know attempted to commit suicide. That was insane. One day, basically everybody paying rent or whatever, everybody got frustrated. Like 4 people that 2 went to the freaking hospital. Like in the mental hospital that I went to see what's up, with me was coming in a autistic kid. And this kid, he was like having so many like voices in his head or whatever. And the lady handed him like 11 pages to fill out like me. And I'm going crazy, like trying to fill out 11 pages of crap. And
while you're supposedly in serious distress of being in real danger of taking your life, they'll take you through the paperwork.
To the paperwork. Yeah, they don't even talk to you. They sit you down on a waiting area, and they sit down this kid, and he's an autistic kid, and he's like struggling to fill out the paperwork, and he have no documents on him. The cops bring him from the top of a building and just drop him there. And the lady there is like, oh, if you don't fill out the paperwork, we cannot take you on, so you have to leave. And I was like, it's the first time that I want to fucking beat the fuck out of an old lady. That was like, for me, that was insane. Like, they were angry that the kid was there. Like, they were angry that the kid was like, oh, now we have to do all of this paperwork with this kid. And like, they weren't even like, it's so like insane that just for you not filling out some papers, you prepare somebody just go and kill themselves. Like basically they telling the kid like, go and kill yourself if you cannot fill out the papers. Like that for me, that blew my mind.
Was a turning point for you. Mm-hmm.
That shit blew my mind. Like, so somebody have to do something. Have to do somebody. We're going to start creating a lot of content about suicide prevention, and like suicide, like what to do when you are like thinking on when you are in a dark time or whatever. And basically gratitude. You cannot be depressed and grateful at the same time. Your brain cannot process both feelings at the same time. If you're really depressed, or you're feeling grateful, not saying that you're grateful, feeling grateful. And yeah, and there is a process to feel grateful. And I think that if we push more people to teach them how to feel grateful, we can make it happen. Basically, the key, one of the fastest ways to, after a bunch of Harvard studies and shit, is to feel grateful. Is basically when somebody tells you something for what they're grateful for about you. Or let's say that your daughter sent you a text saying that she's grateful for something specific. When you pick her up, she was crying because she just broke up with a boyfriend or whatever. So when it's super specific, it gets your brain back into that moment. And what we are going to be training people through the brand is basically sending three messages a week to people around them. You just send them because when you are thinking on how to say thank you to somebody for something specific, to your mom, to your sister, or whatever, it puts you in that. It brings you to the present, to that moment when you felt super grateful. So you are outside of like whatever problem you are. You're just thinking on that moment. Wow, this person cares about me, and the person will reply back, and maybe next week they will reply again or whatever. Like your relationships around you start like getting better, and I started like doing it with my friends and shit. I have brothers now instead of friends. I don't have friends anymore. I have either brothers or acquaintances. So I have people that is super close now to me because I started like texting people like really after I saw the Harvard studies. The you just tell people from your heart something you're grateful for having them in your life, and it's so rewarding. People start like saying the same shit to you, or they remind some moment in their life when you made a difference for them, and that shit changed my life. Like sometimes I wake up and I have two texts from two random, even not random, two friends or guys saying I love you. And it's like it's a fucking game, but it's like I love it. It's like it's fun. It's like rewarding.
It's like almost like paying. It's like reminds me a little bit of the movie Paid Forward.
Yeah,
where,
yeah.
You know, where you do something in gratitude. For those of you who are listening and are not as exposed to mindset work or to spirituality, but gratitude is the very first piece. If you start studying positive thinking or studying about taking control over your life, and it doesn't matter which teaching it is, it does start with the gratitude. What I like about what you say, Joe, is that you say, make it specific. So specific about, do you find that it's more difficult for people to say, I have a good life and I'm grateful for it, versus to say, I am grateful every time I walk into my office and I see my beautiful two fluffy chairs that I love. Yeah. And every time I walk in here and I see these two chairs, I'm so grateful that I have this office because I'm going to sit in my fluffy chair that I've been wanting for such a long time. What's the energetic difference between the specificity of the fluffy white chair that I love so much and being grateful for having an office?
It brings you to the present. It brings you to feel it in the present moment instead of talking about the generality of it. Like it's totally different when you are talking about a specific story of when you did something with your daughter that was emotional 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And you say something specific like the environment. You go into the details. Like you both go like our brain is so fucking powerful. Like your brain will fucking go back to that moment.
Yeah.
And if you do it in general, it won't work. It's like a magical spell.
I love that. So I was there when my granddaughter was born. I am grateful for having been there. But now hearing you talk about it, I would reframe that. And I would say the gratitude that I felt in the moment where I saw her head, the top of her head. And then the second moment when her head was out and then the doctor did this ninja corkscrew move and pulled her right out. Like I remember these two images so vividly in my head that you're right. I'm like right there. And I feel this joy and gratitude for having been in that moment. And there is a difference in the way it says, well, I'm grateful that my daughter wanted me in the room. Yeah. Or I'm grateful for that moment when I saw that tiny little, the piece of the scalp that you first see when the baby comes down the birth canal. That was an indescribable moment.
Yeah, and something cool that you can do, for example, today is sending a text to your daughter and saying thank you for allowing you to be there with her at that moment and seeing that.
There you go. I love that. I love that very much. Joe, unfortunately, we are at the end of the show, but I really enjoyed having you here. So for somebody who wants to know more about the work that you do or potentially might want to be involved in the work around suicide prevention or in helping you get these clothes in the hands of more people, where would we send them?
For right now, my Instagram and my my website is personalbrandsecrets.com, and my Instagram is Joe Cury, at Joe Cury, and yeah, that's it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Joe. It's a pleasure to speak to you. I always learn something unusual from you, and I am really grateful that you and we've been now connected for like 2 years or something like that, and I'm grateful that we get to do this.
No, and I'm super grateful to have you also in my life, and like you are a freaking beast, like a woman that I always tell my friends, oh, this lady that you see here, she sold a business to Bill Gates, and I think that she likes me more than fucking Bill Gates.
I have never met Bill Gates in person, so Bill Gates definitely changed my life in the sense that he approved a transaction that brought me the money to live a carefree life. But the piece that I'm excited about is I'm here to help make people make an impact. And sometimes the messages that are a little bit more difficult to talk about, or having a guest like you who's significantly more explicit than most of the people that we have on the show. But I like that because it adds a real flavor to what we do. And for that, I'm grateful that I get to be able to do that. So, and that's it for us for today. Joe, again, thank you so much for being here. And everybody, thank you for sticking with us. And don't forget to check out what Joe is doing. And until next time, and goodbye.
Thank you for having me. Love you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to or watching the show. We are so excited that you're here, and we are very grateful for you. Now it's our turn to ask you for help. Please do share this episode with one other person that needs to hear what we were talking about today. If there's any question you have about business, please do reach out to us and let us know. And don't forget to schedule your complimentary Uncovery session at uncoverysession.com, where one of our business growth advisors will help you to figure out what your number one business growth blocker is in only 15 minutes. And that's it for us today. Until next time.